a Friday. Gonna swim, bike, and run day. And it's breakfast with Bob.
And Poncho Man, everybody. Welcome, Breakfast with Bob, our Kona World Championship edition from beautiful Huggo's on the Rocks. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA Fly Human Fly, Master Spas, Precision Fuel and Hydration, Crush Your Race Nutrition, Deboer, Outrigger, Kona Resort and Spa, Stay Longer, Save More, and of course, our Challenge Athletes Foundation, our next guest, 1990 ITU World Champion, 1994 Ironman World Champion, Mr. Greg Welch. How you doing, buddy?
I'm awesome. Just happy to be here.
I bet you're happy to be here.
Look at where we are.
I know. You remember the first time you came here?
Yes, 1987. Stayed was the old Seaside Hotel, now Pacific 19. Was amazing. Very
age
close to
grouper?
everything. Age grouper, 18 to 24-year-old age group, and finished 45th.
Yeah.
5th in my age group, which allowed me to punch my ticket for the next year's race.
Yes. But before that, working construction?
Yeah, working construction, 6 days a week. The sixth day was a Saturday.
Yes.
Normally long run day or whatever, but had to earn the bucks. My boss said, if you work Saturdays, I'll pay you cash in the hand. So
You work Saturdays?
I work Saturdays. So and then did the long run after work. Yeah.
So, but out of high school and college, and did you have a career path?
Yeah, so during school, sports was everything to me. So 5
Track
years,
and field, primarily?
Yeah, well, it all started out, to be honest, in rugby.
Okay.
5 years to 15 years, I was on a rugby league team, and during that time, when I was about 11 or 12, I started squash.
Okay. Yes.
And I was in a swim squad as well when I was young. Yeah, and then so whenever I got to rugby league training in the afternoons, Tuesday, Thursday afternoons, the the coach said, "Okay, boys, do 2 laps for warm up." So I get to the end of my second lap of the warm-up, and the guys hadn't even finished their first, so he's like, do another one. And then I was scouted onto doing track and field at primary school in 5th grade. And in 5th grade, I won the overall 800 metres at track and field. So that's where I first discovered my love of running.
Love of running. And did you run high school?
Yeah, so in high school ran cross country, but it's not like in America. Like Australia is a little bit different. We didn't have, meets all the time, and it wasn't like that. So there was only like an area championship, school championship, area championship, state championship.
Right.
And that was it. And then the Australian all schools. So that's about as far as you could
so
take
you
it.
didn't have like meets every week and things like that. Oh, interesting. So at that, did you run in college as well?
No, I went to Builders College.
You went to Builders? So a craft. You were going to be a builder.
Yeah. So I went to college 1 week a month.
Yes.
That's how it worked. I was an apprentice for 4 years, and then, while going to college.
I remember one of the first articles we wrote about you. Ken McAlpine wrote this great piece, and it was you guys had worked really hard, had a tough day of building, didn't have any money, and walked into a restaurant, and you're like, well, I'm pretty fast. I think I can get this. So I think you grabbed the burger, and then the guy was chasing you with a big knife or something.
All right, now, so I'm a felon, right? No, just joking. Yeah, thanks for blowing that, Bob. But yeah. So anyway,
witness protection. Sorry about that.
I'm in the witness protection program. That's why I'm in Hawaii.
Yeah.
No, but
that was a great story. I loved it.
It was, and I remember that because you had set that up. So Ken called me. I was in Australia, and he was writing, if I'm not wrong, it's Outside Magazine, I think, or Competitive.
It was Competitor
Magazine.
It was Competitor. He might have written for both. Yeah.
Right. So. That story actually made its way to the Hawaiian Airlines magazine as well. So
that's a great article.
Yeah. Anyway, but my fondest memory, in the early days, of you and me was 1989 Iron War when I was an age grouper, finishing 3rd overall. But the greatest thing was that next day at the press conference, right over there at the King Kamehameha at the back there, you opened it up with the first question. You go, hey. Firstly, who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
And then all I can find about you is that you're a builder or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm 23. I was 3rd yesterday, and I'm going to take that $8,000 and become professional because that's more than I earn in 6 months.
Wow. And so at that point, did you move to the States?
Yeah. So the next year was 1990. So it was October 89. 1990. Well, let me just back up one. So in July and August, I was selected onto the Australian team for the first ever World Championships at Olympic distance in Avignon, France.
Yes.
I was the 6th and final pick, so I got to go away and do 7 races in 8 weeks.
Very fun.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I got lucky, won the first couple of races, second in the third one, and then really messed it up in Avignon, got 45th, whatever, and then got sprint second in the last one, second in the second. Anyway, I made some good money.
Yes.
And I'm like, I like this. So come back. I'm 3 weeks at home training for Ironman.
Right.
And then training really well. And then I just think that I had raced those 7 races in 8 weeks and put a good training block together. And my body was maturing, and I was still only 23 years of age.
Yeah.
So probably some of the best 11 weeks of my whole life, to be honest.
And then, so when you came to Kona in 90, right, you get 5th in Kona, but 90 was also, 90, we're talking ITU World Championship. We go to Disney. The first one was Avignon. The following year, we're at Disney World, right? That was really, I remember how excited we were. We're still a young sport. Right? Sport started, Ironman was 78, and we're talking, 12, 13 years later, we're at Disney World doing a internationally televised show. And here you are running through the field and winning with Mickey and Minnie holding the banners. It was like the coolest thing ever.
Fairy tale, right?
Yes.
Yeah, fairy tale ending to that day. Yeah, so 1990 was a good one. My focus that year was to do multiple things,
Right.
not to do another Ironman, only Kona, to go to Orlando and win. And we got lucky. I went number 1. Brad Bevan went number 2, and Stephen Foster number 3.
So you guys swept the podium.
We did. We clean swept the podium, and that was the year after that Mark won Avignon and
Kona.
Ironman in the same year. So which was creating history, and I don't even know if that's been repeated. But so it was a great year. But then after Orlando, after that victory. There was a lot of media commitments and everything, and I really wanted to come to Kona and perform well, try and go better than 3rd place. Didn't happen, but
We got 5th. That's
I
still,
got
you're
5th.
right on.
Yeah.
So, and then at that point, it's, okay, Dave Scott's not racing, and I remember doing a cover of Competitor, and it was you and Mark. It's like, here's the new young kid on the block, and the guy who's now won 2 in a row. And so in that 91 race, you get 2nd, and then 6 and 92. So you're right there in the hunt. 93 injured. And so you couldn't race, but you were here. And you really got a chance to watch how the race played out. And I think you've mentioned before that really helped you when it came to winning the following year.
Yeah, so 2 weeks before that race in 93, went to Dallas for the World Duathlon Championships and won.
Wasn't Lance racing there?
No,
you raced him in
Lance
duathlon.
Lance came down to watch because
That's
he was
right.
just up the road. So
Right,
he
right.
came down. It was just outside of Arlington, and
That's
he's from
right.
Plano, so it was
Yeah.
like, I don't know, maybe 45-minute drive
Yeah.
for him. But he was there just watching. And then, so I came back 2 days later, just finishing off my swim at UCSD, University of California, San Diego, where I did my swim training. And I was riding home, and it was my last bike ride before packing the bike up that afternoon and flying to Kona the next day. Come off La Costa Avenue at the coast, you know where that is exactly. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Sun setting or going down and facing, so now sitting in the west facing east, so somebody's coming out of the east and doesn't see me and just turns right
Clocks
in front of
you.
me. Took my knee out, took my left knee out, so I came to Kona on crutches. The good thing about that was, like you said, I got to work for NBC that day and just sort of commentate a little bit and see the race up close and personal. So I got to see them, how they did their nutrition, how they did their plan, their race strategy and everything. So that was really worth it. I think it helped me going forward.
No question. And then the next year, we've got Mark Allen taking a year off. Julie's having the baby, having Matt's. And now it's you and this guy who hasn't raced since '89, Dave Scott, who's coming back.
So what are you saying? Mark's out, Dave, I'm racing the old guys. Was it like an easy win for me?
Never an easy win. It's you never, because you don't know who's going to be that
Who's
factor.
this guy?
Always. You never know who's going to be a factor. So
Never.
here you come in 94, and it's one of those great races, and we're like going, Dave comes rolling his bike in, and nobody really knows, but the guy's fit, and the guy's ready. And there's a point there where we used to have those Timex Preems on the course. You're riding with Dave, And I think Jurgen is starting to make his move, Jurgen Zach, to go for the Timex Prem. And you were starting to get out of the saddle to go, hey, it's money, right? You're talking this money. And Dave was like, Greg, this is the race.
I told the exact same story the other day. I spoke at the medical conference at the Ironman Medical Symposium. And every word that just came out of your mouth was pretty much what I said. Because you and I love to talk about that one.
I love that.
It was the funniest thing because
you're competing with this guy.
You're competing, but it's $1,500. At that time, it was lucrative, and it would have been nice to have in your back pocket. Then it was $1,500 to get to the top of Palani Road on the run, right? So I'm thinking, wow, $3,000. That's a lot of money. But in the grand scheme of things, coming down to the 85-mile marker at Monolani, where the Prem line was, Jurgen was starting to rev his energy and put his chest out. Kenny Glab riding in the big gear, just grinding away like Kenny did, and Peter Kropko from Hungary starts sprinting for it. So I think, wow, I'm going to go for this as well. And Dave looks across at me and he goes, Bob, what does he say?
He said, Greg, this is the race.
Greg. The race is right here. And I'm like, guys won 6 times. I'm going to listen to him. Let him go. Get to the transition, which was up at the Kona Surf at the time, which is 6.5-7 miles out of town. Go into the transition area, which was in the room that we gave the talk to the other day. You go into the conference room, change, come out of the other conference room and run straight out. Hit the hill and go out. I get in there. Kenny Glass already changed and gone. Jurgen's still sitting there putting his shoes and socks on. I leave before Jurgen. He was in there 55 seconds ahead of us. So he's got the $1,500 in his pocket. But now he's already in third place leaving the transition.
Right.
So Dave was right. Get to the top of the hill. Kropko comes up onto the shoulder of Dave and I. I get a few steps in front of Dave. Kropko goes with me. 5 miles down the road, we get to one of the elite drives littered with these beautiful mailboxes, letterboxes, right?
Yes, they do.
Dolphins and sea turtles and all this. So running along at around about a 5:15 pace at this time, and we're just absolutely cracking it in second place with Peter Kropko, Kenny Glass still up the road. Peter Kropko starts slowing down, and I'm like, oh gosh, that's early for him to be slowing down. Then all of a sudden I look around, and Peter Kropko had taken one of those letterboxes out, and it was like...
He was on the ground.
Oh, he was holding it up. Well, it was holding him up, and he had already started suffering and bonking, so... Onwards, catch Kenny Glauer at the top of Palani. I actually did get that Prem, and then onwards. But Dave was right.
Dave was right, and then going down in the energy lab, we're all watching, and here comes Dave getting it down to 11 or 12 seconds, and it's like, oh my God, it's going to be a race. And I mean, at that point, you look so in control. And when you got to the turnaround in the energy lab, I mean, you knew where he was, and you knew at that point it's a little over. It's 10K from the top of the hill back to town.
10.5.
10.5.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I know every step of that.
Yes, you do.
Bob, the funny thing here, you are Ironman historian. Nobody knows more than Bob Babbitt. So at the time, the run course was a lot harder than what it is now, because you had to go up that very steep hill, down 2 more hills into the pit.
The
came
pit
back,
was brutal.
And then down Heartbreak Hill at Keohog.
Yeah.
Running along Elite Drive, Palani, then the rest is history. Same course now, almost. Back then, we used to turn around 400 metres or quarter of a mile before the airport and do a U-turn. So that was the second point you got to see your competition. The third and last point you got to see them as a turnaround in the energy lab.
Yep.
So I did start my Ironman Timex watch.
Still got it.
Yep, and it said 12 seconds. So you double it, 24 seconds, right? So he's 24 seconds there. Into the pit. Now, unbeknown to me, he got within 11 seconds.
Yeah.
So he really came up on my shoulder, but I didn't know. And then he started fading. So I turned around, 12 seconds, double it, 24 seconds. Oh, gosh, we're in for a race.
Yeah.
But by the time I got to the corner of Queen Ka'umanu Highway and the Energy Lab Road, it was 52. So somebody had caught up to me and said, Welch, you're 52 seconds ahead. And I'm like, oh, is this going to be the day?
Yes,
and
it's going to be the day. And coming across that line, getting that huge win, how did that change your life?
Yeah, it changed it for the better of all good. That's what you work towards, and I set myself a goal in my lifetime, and that was to win the Grand Slam. It wasn't multiple Ironman wins. It wasn't multiple World Championship Olympic distance. It was to win everything across the board at different distances. I was a big fan of Emil Zatopek, who won the 5, 10 and marathon at the Olympic Games back in the day. He's from the Czech Republic.
Yes.
He was in the Czech army. Hard ass.
Total.
I wasn't going to say that. I think
I would.
PG-13.
Yeah,
oh, you did. Okay, all right. So I was the type of guy that just looked at the challenges, and then there was only one challenge left after 96 when I closed it out with the middle distance world championship, and that was the Olympic Games.
Which was going to be in Sydney in 2000.
Yeah, and I was born about 10, 12K away from the race. So it was going to be my swan song.
Exactly.
Do Kona in 2000 and retire.
And then 1999, you're racing here, and all of a sudden you're out in the swim, and I don't know, you're thinking you're having an asthma attack. Something's happening. You had to put your hand on the board and just relax. And you did that through a couple times in the swim, and then on the bike, you had to stop and put your head down between the handlebars and just to get your breath back, and then the run. And I think you still ran 2:49 for the marathon and finished 11th overall.
I did. Great memory. So at around about about 1 mile, so we're about 200 meters away from the turnaround boat. The turnaround boats, Body Glove and the other one, whatever it was. I rolled up onto one of the lifeguard boats and just said, I can't breathe. I just can't breathe. I was like, with these lights, it's like you're blinded by a white sheet.
Right.
And I can tell you now that my heart rate was 320.
320.
320. So the test that I did in the laboratory in Los Angeles when I got back to the States proved that it was 320. Same rhythm, same feeling. I was doing a routine treadmill test, exercise treadmill test, and went into VTAC on the treadmill. Rolled over, did some backstroke. I came out of VTAC and back into normal sinus rhythm. Got going again. 2 more times on the swim it happened. Backstroke again, whatever. On the bike, it was about 12 to 15 times that I actually had to stop and
amazing.
Reach on the handlebars and just like put my head down and just try and calm myself down, go into a breathing pattern. Catch up to my ex-wife, my wife at the time, Sian, at around about Harvey, and she's like, "What's going on with you?" And I'm like, "Just a training day. I didn't want to upset her, or just a training day. It's not going the way that I wanted it to."
Yeah.
Not knowing that could have died.
Yes, you could have.
And on the way back, same thing happened. And then on the run, here's the funny thing. I get to the top of Palani Road, and Chris Lee, my very dear friend from Australia, his father-in-law, Roger, he's a GP, a general practitioner in Australia. He was standing at the top of the road. He goes, "Greg, I know something wrong with you. What's going on?" And I'm like, "I don't know, Roger. I haven't been able to breathe the way that I normally do." And he knew that I was, diagnosed with, sports-induced asthma. So, but I really never took the medication. But anyway, so I kept going, and I had to stop 3 times on the run that day, but I think I had the second fastest run of 2:49 or something like that.
Yes, it was 2:49, yeah.
And I did run into the 11th place, and I was so mad. And you know why I was mad?
No.
I missed out on the prize money by 1.
Oh, that's right, top 10. But, when you look at the epic races of all time with everything you had to go through to run a 2:49 and finish 11th overall, and then find out that your heart rate was over 300. And so at that point, I remember you had to retire from the sport.
Yeah.
It was over.
Yeah, my heart was beating as fast as what Casper Storn's legs were going in Nice this year with a 2:29. How's that? 20 minutes faster these days. Incredible. I retired. Simple reason is that I went to do a couple of routine tests in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And that day that I did that test, they called the ambulance straight away. I was shipped over to Cedars-Sinai in Beverly Hills, and then couldn't get in there. They had 2 emergency heart attacks. So they took me back over to UCLA Medical Center, where I go through, had an endomyocardial biopsy, angiogram, electrophysiological study, all within 3 days. 3 major heart surgical procedures, and sort of found out that it was a little bit too dangerous to take the risk.
Oh, of course.
To go on. And so, my Olympic dream was cut. It's okay. I retired number 1 in the world, and who could be upset at that?
Well, being at the first ever Olympic Games in Sydney, like you said, your hometown.
With me.
With you. And I think in the stands, you, Brad Bevan, and so many of the legends of Australian triathlon watching the first ever games. And I know that's the way you wanted to culminate your career, but the career was still pretty damn spectacular. That 10-year period, 89 and 99, you did so much racing the Australian season, and then, and I always wonder sometimes if you were racing 20 seasons in 10 years. You were doing those short course.
I did 22 back-to-back seasons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? And you did the short course, a 300-yard swim, 3-mile bike, 1-mile run over and over and over again, and then coming and training for this. Do you think the never taking a break, potentially traveling when you're a little sick, can they diagnose why this happened?
Yeah, so my father has a thing called WPW, which is Wolff Parkinson White. It's an electrical issue in the heart, and I have an electrical issue in the heart. So I'd like to link those up together and say that it's genetics that did that, because throughout my career, Bob, to be honest, I didn't train as much as the other Ironman athletes did, but my quality over quantity.
You did a lot of quality.
Was there, and that's why I like to do all of those things. Now, you come off Ironman right in October, and people would go into a month or two where they would be flat, not a lot of training or whatever. I did go back to Australia. I did take 3 or 4 weeks very, very easy. Then I have to start training for
your high intensity season.
High intensity electricity type of racing, with our Formula One Grand Prix.
It's almost like the Super League now, now.
It is. It's exactly that. And that's how Macca, designed it all around what we used to do.
Right.
And it's high intensity, you can't even imagine for 1 minute that you're not anaerobic, that whole race. And the races are only 15, 20 minutes long outside of the enduro race. So you just got to be on. You do 3 races in the space of an hour and 20 minutes. And it's great
God.
though. But that's what it's all about. Like, it was the challenge for me.
Right.
Come off an Ironman and then you go into something like that. It's like running a 10K at the Olympics and then going into the 400 or the 800, you know. So that's what was so good about it.
Well, it was a great era because, like you said, you're racing against Brad Bevan, you're racing against Mark Allen, you're racing against Simon Lessing, Spencer Smith, just all the greats that you got to race against.
Yeah, Mark Allen had my number. I only ever beat Mark once or twice.
Yeah.
Brad Bevan was almost impossible for me to beat in the Formula One, but I was undefeated in the enduro format, never lost one of those, but second place all the time to Brad in every other race. He was the king of that. And then Simon Lessing, I had a horrible time with Simon. He always had my number, always, and I always had great battles with Spencer.
That is great.
Yeah.
Greggy, thank you so much for taking time. Always such a pleasure to travel down memory lane. So pacemaker, defibrillator, but you're playing pickleball, you're paddleboarding, tennis.
Doing it all.
You're doing it all.
Yeah, not going to stop, mate. It's
I love it.
got to get back out on the golf course with you.
A little more speed golf. We got to get back out there.
Well,
We don't call it speed anymore. It's a mellow golf.
We'll do mellow golf.
I like it. Greg Welch has been our guest. Poncho Man, take us out.
It's Aloha Friday, gonna swim and bike day. Cause it's breakfast with Bob.
And Poncho Man.